Overseas now, the democratically elected leader of Myanmar is asking her citizens to protest and resist after she was detained in a military coup. A statement by Aung San Suu Kyi, reportedly written before she was taken into custody, urges the people of Myanmar not to accept what's taken place. Suu Kyi and other leaders of her political party were rounded up in early morning raids Monday. The army claims it's due to fraud in November's election. Suu Kyi's NLD party won 83% of that vote. So let's bring in UN Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights in Myanmar. He joins me from Washington. And thank you very much for your time, Tom. So tell me what your thoughts were when you heard about this coup and whether or not it surprised you.
Well, I was shocked. There was some indications that something might be brewing. Some of us put out strong statements. We were trying to head off what we thought might be happening. But then here's what happened. The military, not only is it overturned a constitution that it wrote that give it enormous power, but it said just 24 hours ago that the assumptions that we've been making about their actions are unfounded, and they intend to abide by the Constitution. So I thought, okay, I know that they have less than credibility with many of their statements, but okay, we're going to accept what they say. And of course, we wake up and find out what has occurred. So it's shocking. It's in many respects, it's outrageous. And the fact that the people of Myanmar, who have been through so much, they've had to live through a brutal military regime for decades. They're going through this awful pandemic. The economy has been on the ropes. This is absolutely the last thing that the people of Myanmar need or deserve. It's just outrageous.
And what about your concern then, for human rights right now? I mean, obviously, media to some degree has been cut off with phones and whatnot, and other forms of media not being allowed, but it's relatively quiet in the streets. How concerned are you in the days ahead?
Well, people are afraid, and there's a palpable fear throughout the country. And so that is why you're not seeing an immediate pouring out on the streets, because people are fearful for their lives. We know what we know what we're dealing with when we're talking about the military. We don't know quite how many. There's been various estimates of how many people have been detained. It's not just political and government leaders, but human rights defenders, democracy advocates, leaders of NGOs. Have been detained. Many people we can't reach because of the communication shutdown. So we're still not quite clear what is happening, but what we're clear of is that the people in Myanmar who are supportive of democracy and human rights need the international community now more than ever before because of the state of affairs within Myanmar.
Yeah, and the international community has, condemned this, denounced this, and Canada being in that list of criticism as to what's going on. But tell me about the role of China in this and its importance.
Well, China is obviously very, very important, and Myanmar has traditionally looked to China to bail it out when international pressure comes a calling, and of course it has on various occasions because of various outrages we've seen from this military in the past. I think what's noteworthy is that the Security Council is going to be meeting, and that is because China has agreed to the convening of the Security Council. So I think that's a very important indication of just how horrendous and outrageous the actions of Myanmar military are, and that the United Nations is serious about engaging in this outrage. We'll see what happens when the Security Council obviously convenes. What we're hoping for and calling for is strong action, sanctions, targeted economic sanctions, arms embargo. And if it's if the Security Council is unable to move forward in the way that I'm hoping that they will, there are alternatives, including bilateral actions that governments around the world can take in their relationship to the government of Myanmar and military of Myanmar.
Okay, Tom Andrews, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for this.
My pleasure, Beverly.